Okay, we live, we're good. Okay. Hello, welcome back. I don't know why you're here. God knows I have no idea why I'm here. Beyond the fact that a long time ago, two people had a very irresponsible night, and I am paying for it for the rest of my life. As we all know. So, bringing the Kyonshi siblings out today for some soul build combat testing. And, of course, they will be joined by my Zashiki Earth, grade 6 Jizo build. She exists in literally almost in a sizable chunk of these videos. But, I think I've actually detailed her out, at least in the earliest video she appeared in. She is the best. I love her. She goes everywhere with me. She is best battery, especially this Jizo. But anyway, moving on to the stars. We have, of course, the big brother, little brother, and our sweet little baby sisters, who, for the sake of this joke, are going to be twins. And I'm going to say this. If a dominantly blue Imoto and or green Imoto comes out, you better bet they're getting the names Bubbles and Buttercup, and I'm going to basically have the Powerpuff Girls. I'm sorry. There is no question in this scenario, alright? So let's start out, of course, here with our big brother. You know, for those who see him normally, who has an arrow in his head. We love him for his ability to resurrect. And he has pretty decent attack to start out with, but his main ability is, of course, resurrection. But as anyone who knows, I like my healers, or in this case, resurrectionists, to be able to slap a bitch. So that is what we are doing with him. Mostly because, and now soul build wise for him, it was a bit of a test, because the comment section was absolutely zero help. As we've seen many times, that's what actually prompted these videos to start getting made. The internet was also no help, and trying to ask people in chat was no real help, because it's like there's so many conflicting ideas. So, after that, I kind of just said, F it, and decided to try Mimic and see how this went. As we know, I experiment. Overall, this actually has been a pleasant experiment. Correct. Now, of course, we know he is fully skilled up. He naturally is capable of inflicting a daze when he smacks somebody with his coffin, and it is affected by effect hit, so a little bit of extra effect hit is useful for that, especially if you want him doing a little bit of crowd controlling. And of course, this right here is his bread and butter, the coffin to resurrect. Yes. But of course, like I said, I like healers like this being able to do some damage, so I kind of went with that sort of build for him. And using Mimic because of all these other things, if he's going to be already inflicting a daze, why not run the chance of him doing something else in case daze doesn't hit, like silence, or to heal down, confuse. Anybody who knows me knows that daze and confuse are two of my favorite effects to use. The only fatal flaw of the situation being, I sure don't like feeling them. I like using them, but I don't like feeling them. So, of course, that went, and the fact that it also boosts his effect resistance to try to keep him from getting knocked stupid is also useful for when he is not smacking people you want him bringing back the dead. And that might actually be one of the creepier things I've said. Who cares? Moving on. So, of course, it's got little basis of trying to, keep the stats nice and rounded. Now, he could definitely use a little more HP and a little more defense team up, but the main focus here is, of course, going towards boosting his attack, but it's also giving him speed, at the very least, to take advantage of him trying to daze and do a little bit of early first on crowd control. If you're actually in control of him, and your opponent has a move right after he does, why not smack him first? You know, first hit. See if you can actually knock him a little crazy. It works. House Imp is mostly here for its attack bonus, but also because I had the speeds thing. And honestly, him moving a little faster means that he has a stronger chance of actually being able to get his resurrection going and doing some crowd control in between that. Now, this might not work for everybody. I understand. This is actually just a suggestion of something that could be fun to try. See if it fits your taste. If not, there's no harm in trying something else. He's relatively fun to experiment on because there's a lot of leeway to attempt things here with him. Overall, I kind of like this little thing. It kind of works out nicely, in my opinion. I'm very curious to see what it'll do later on. Now, moving on to the siblings. We gotta go down the ride here. So, we'll start with the little brother here, Otouto, instead of Ani. And we know what he do. We know what he can do. If he's not punching opponents and making himself gigantic, we know he's also dealing out this poison for damage, extra damaging. So, if he's already going to be dealing that, why not give him a little something extra? So, like his big brother, he has this Mimic Souls. In particular, this beautiful bit of crit damage. Could he use some more crit? Yes. Do I love all that extra crit damage and effect hit and him having a good effect resistance? Also, yes. There is room to play in boosting the crit, though, a little bit more. But it does come into play that if he does manage to hit a crit, it's going to do some harm, which is fun. Of course, his having a little bit more attack, but of course the crit. But to boost his effects with chances with the Mimic is, of course, the Azure Basin. Because if you're going to poison, why not try to inflict as much extra harm as possible? You know, just for funsies. Overall, it's actually worked out kind of nicely. I mean, I have fun with it. I honestly love the skin on him. Whoever came with that was great. But now we move on to, of course, the twins, as I'm going to call them. And I'd like to point out something that I don't think was actually intended in-game, but maybe it was. I actually have found while testing these two that two Imoto on the same team can actually have individual tomatoes they're controlling. So you could actually probably have like a full team of them and have like 1, 2, 3, like maybe 3, 4, or 5 tomatoes running around, which is kind of cool. I don't know if that was intended exactly, but it's actually really funny. But we're going to go start with Blossom over here, and honestly, I can't think of very few people who don't adore this skin. It is absolutely adorable. I'm pretty sure it was like the second skin I was very desperate to get my hands on. Now, taking into account her abilities, she doesn't really do an effect. I didn't feel like trying to give her one, but I kind of honestly love what she's able to do with everything else here. So bolstering her attack and giving her some speed and everything is a good thing. But I have to admit, I also love the fact of her being able to like attack multiple times. So of course she has Soul Taker because why not? Not only are you getting your attack bonuses, you're getting her an extra turn. And as I've managed to cover through some experimenting, that works for normal attacks and orb skills. And you can combine that, such as say you use an orb skill first, it triggers, you still have orbs, you can use that orb skill a second time. Normal attack, you could use it in the skin. Same thing. It's not doesn't just trigger with letting a normal attacks happen. It seems to go with anything, which is really useful, especially when you need it. I mean, there's a reason I kind of abused Soul Taker on Orochi when I let him loose. Gets them snakes on the field real fast. So of course, again, her focus is predominantly on attack because she's got to be able to hit hard, Tomato does. So, a lot of extra crit, a little bit of crit damage, not much in the way of effect resistance, which is kind of sad because she can get knocked stupid fairly easily. But she can definitely make somebody hurt. And of course, to boost her crit further is these two Samisons, which is, of course, great. Now, of course, we have this lovely little event skin she got at one point, Bubblegum, which I will be 100% honest, I was mostly inspired by the Bubblegum coloring, her name from the Bubblegum coloring of items on a website that I'm not sure is very popular anymore. Guy Online, if anyone knows that. And of course, I couldn't resist going with that because honestly, this kind of fits that bubblegum patterning. It's adorable. So, of course, much like her sister, she's also built for crit and for attack. Of course, it just so happens she also has a lot more, her stats also are a little higher at the sacrifice of some speed, but she also gets some beautiful effect resistance. So while Blossom is the one who's maybe getting knocked out and not crazy, Bubblegum is going to basically be here to keep that from happening for herself. And of course, Scarlet, because if you're going to have someone based in attack, it helps to have either being able to do multiple attacks or being able to counterattack, which we all know counterattacking is freaking glorious and can sometimes win you the match. Now, for fun, along with these Scarlet sets, which of course are built with attack, crit, and crit damage in mind, I also went with the Namazu, if only because I was actually curious on how the two-piece set, passive effect set would work on her. I've actually been relatively pleased. You don't have to go with Namazu, you could try something else, but I've actually found that the damage reduction can be very useful. Especially for the damage boost that happens. Overall, fun. Alright, so we've got my chatter out of the way, so now we get to the fun part, which is going to be the combat test itself of seeing the siblings, what they can do against a level 40 Hahakagami zone and a level 40 Kappa zone. If you want to go ahead and knock off here, there's no shame, no foul. We just ask that you do the Holy Trifecta of YouTube down below, like, comment, subscribe, you know, if you feel like it, or leave suggestions for soul builds you want to see and all. And then, if you're going to stick around to the end of the video, though, we're going to go ahead and have a little fun. So, let's do that, shall we? Ready? Okay, here we go. Hey, Seme, you're not really useful. You're just going to stay there and look pretty. Yep, there we go. Blossom just knocking people out. Yay! Two doggies running around. When does this teeny tiny little corgi? I love this. It's honestly was such a pleasant surprise that you could have two tomatoes or more running around. I love this. Blossom's little corgi just is so tiny compared to everything, and it's just wailing on people. Okay. Pardon me a second. Sorry about that emergency situation that had to get resolved real quick. At least get ready to get resolved. So we're going to try and knock off the Kappa zone pretty quick here. So I'll see you in a hot minute. Okay, so we're in the Kappa zone for this video with the Kyonshi siblings who are just going to wreck shop. I hope. Yeah. I actually didn't see the end of the last combat test. Like I said, there was an emergency situation that I've got to get started handling. So let's just move forward with this and go. Okay. I love that he's doing all his harm. You're getting to see Mimic use all of its abilities now. Just the same as I love seeing Blossom's teeny tiny little corgi running around. It's like the cutest thing. If anything, Mimic works really nice on anything that has an effect hit. Pow. And one more, here we go. Just daze the heck out of it. That smoke is just putting in the work right now with the effects, and I love every second of it. And of course the tomatoes are too. God, that little teeny tiny corgi though. So tiny! And just prancing around. And of course, Soul Taker proving just how useful it is. Got a whole team of Imoto with tomatoes. That would be freaking amazing. I gotta actually do that if I ever pull that off. Okay. Well, on that note, I'm gonna actually head off because, again, I got something I gotta handle real fast. So please do the holy trifecta of YouTube down below to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a good day. Bye.